Hello humans, I'm MartianBuu, and welcome to my completely unedited set review. We're going to go through all these millions and jillions of Perils and Paradise cards and talk about how amazing they are in all of the classes. It's going to be a little bit awkward because we're going to have to jump around because of the way that the Torg mechanic works, so bear with me as I struggle through all of this. First up is Death Knight, Horizon's Edge. So this is a location, costs 4, deal 3 damage randomly split among all enemies. After a friendly minion dies, reopen this. So if you're playing this in even Death Knight, you can like have you can play Mining Casualties on 2, coin this out on 4, use it, trade, use it, trade, and then you can't trade anymore if this has the same problem as that like 3-cost card from Demon Hunter that like deals 3 damage to a random enemy, and then every time a minion dies, like you go to rush in and do a bunch of damage, but then the 3 damage keeps not going face and clearing minions, so you can't trade anything anymore. But yeah, I could see it being a good, like, I could see that being good. It's just not going to deal, you know, like all 15 face really easily. Also, this is in the context of Wild. I'm not going to worry about Standard. I don't know it well enough. Slippery Slope. So 2 Frost runes, cost 2, freeze a character, draw a card for each frozen character in Frost. That seems really good. I think if this isn't good right away, it'll be good eventually. That's potentially a lot of draw. Like you could, you could Quartzite Crusher if you're going double Frost, 1 blood, but there's no reason to do that presently. But yeah, you could Quartzite Crusher, freeze your opponent's face, and then freeze a minion with this and draw 2. Then we have Snow Shredder, costs 1 if a character is frozen. So it's a 4-mana 4/4, 1 Frost rune. In a Quartzite Crusher deck, you would play this, right? It seems good. These are all even cards. Well, I would need to theorycraft that deck. I don't. I think that this has some potential to see play in Wild, but I don't know that it has a deck right now. Frostbitten Freebooter, 3-mana 2/2 Undead Pirate. Death Rattle, freeze 3 random enemies. Any that were already frozen take 5 damage instead. This is not an even card, and it's not good enough to make odd real. So moving on. Brittle Buccaneer, 2-mana 1/4. Whenever you play a Death Rattle minion, give it Reborn. Whenever you play, not summon. So you can't use it on Mining Casualties. I mean, in a really greedy Plague DK, that'd be funny. But yeah, I don't know that Death Rattle Death Knight is quite there yet. Ghoul's Knight, 4 mana, summon 5 1/1 ghouls that attack random enemies. And this, being an unholy card, I think gives it a lot of potential for even Death Knight, because it activates all of your infused stuff. You play this, and then your infused stuff is online. Everything in your hand that had infused is ready to go as soon as you play this thing. So that's interesting. The fact that it attacks things randomly makes it really awkward. Like, you're spending your whole turn to do this. So I don't know that this is going to revive even Death Knight, but I think it would go in an even Death Knight deck that runs... Actually, anything that's running the infused cards could run it. But playing this alongside the poisonous thing is a little hopeful for Wild. So there's the 4-mana... what is it, a 4/5 now? 3/5? Something like that. The one that barfs in the other person's mouth. Like, playing those 2 in the same turn is a little hopeful, so it's like an 8-mana Flurgle-Tox. This card gives 5 more corpses. That's kind of nice. I agree, but like, there's no good like Wild quality corpse payoffs, so it's a little awkward, I think. Except like there's a corpse payoff coming up here that I think is actually really interesting. So I'm gonna want to talk about that. So as long as you have corpses, that's relevant. Like, as long as you have good corpse spenders, that's relevant. But a lot of the corpse spenders in Wild are pretty hopeful. Then we have Dreadhound Handler. So 2 mana, 2/2, no runes, rush, death rattle, summon a 1/1 Dreadhound with Reborn. So you get to clear one thing immediately, and then you get a 1/1 to do stuff with next turn. This has got to be better than a lot of the stuff Death Knight has in Even right now. I could see playing this. And that's 3 corpses, right? So I don't know. I think that's pretty decent. I could see running it. Eliza Goreblade. So 4 mana, 4/3, undead pirate. For the rest of the game, your minions have +1 attack. Unfortunately, this is a blood and a frost rune, so it's very inflexible. I clicked your page because your name and profile pic was dope. Well, awesome, thank you. Based new chatter, yeah. So I actually do think the problem with Rainbow Even Death Knight is there haven't been any good corpse spenders. There's nothing to do with the corpses. Never mind C&E, but like corpses are an important mechanic to Death Knight, and you have nothing to do with them in Rainbow in Wild. If you're running Even, nothing to do with them. And I do think there is one coming up here. So given like if something to spend your corpses with that matters is all that it takes for Even Rainbow Death Knight to be real, this would go in that, because when you get this, your hero power becomes 1 for deal 2 damage, which is really strong. If you play this in that and Ghoul's Knight, you're dealing 2 damage with each of those ghouls. So every time you get this, it's going to be really strong. So if Even Rainbow Death Knight is a thing, I could see this being a thing. This is the one I was talking about. So Corpsicle. This is 2 for a frost rune, frost spell, deal 3 damage, spend 3 corpses, return this to your hand. If you spend 3 corpses, you return this to your hand at the end of the turn. So what's relevant about, so this is 2 for deal 3, which is really good. It's not really good, but it's good. And you keep getting it back. So you always have that value. You always have a card to play. And if it's your only thing that spends corpses, you're going to be able to just do this every turn. So it's a huge value generator for Even Death Knight. If you're going Rainbow. And Harbinger of Frost, I think is what it's called. It's a 2 for 3/2 Death Rattle. Draw a frost spell. So if this is the only frost spell in your deck, you can run 2 of these and 2 Harbinger of Frost, and you will always have Corpsicle. So being able to just very consistently have unlimited dark bombs in your hand, I think could be pretty good, and would mean that if the game goes late, you could run Climactic Necrotic Explosion for big damage, big board. So this is the card that gives me hope for Rainbow Death Knight in Wild. I was talking to an IRL friend today about my favorite Twitch streamers, and I mentioned your name. He replied, Martian, isn't he that dork-ass nerd who just plays High Legend Wild all day? But don't worry, man. I set him straight. I let him know that sometimes you play Standard and you're rarely in High Legend. Perfect. Perfect. Boop. Buttons. So 5 mana, 5/5 undead, Shaman Tourist, draw a spell of each spell school. Draw a spell of each spell school. So this is a Shaman Tourist, which means we need to go look at Shaman cards to evaluate this. This is why this is awkward. So I guess what I'll do is I'll follow the tourists, right? So I've now seen the Shaman Tourist. I'm going to skip ahead to Shaman after I do Death Knight. That's how I'll do it. So draw a spell of each spell school. 5 mana, 5/5. If you're running an extra large value pile and the Shaman cards are good enough, I could see this as like an extra large Rainbow DK card. But I think it's going to have to be pretty good for that to be good. It's like Hagatha with no downside though. So I could see it being something. Okay, so that was all of DK. Now we have to fast forward to Shaman for tourist's sake. Matching outfits. So 4 mana, transform a minion into a random one that costs 1 more, then summon a copy of it. Well, that's just terrible. I could see that being something in standard, but the pool is too weird and wild, and it's too much for too little. How's this different from dual class? It's like dual class, but you have to run Gen/Baku in your deck to have dual class. So it's mostly dual class, but you have to run again Baku. Meltamental. Not to be confused with Melmetal from Pokemon. So 3 mana, 3/3 elemental. Taunt, this is permanently frozen. Not 3/3, 3/8. So it's a 3 mana, 3/8 taunt. That's pretty interesting. I think it's a few years too late to be powerful. But yeah, you can wombo combo this with a 3/4 that makes it so things can't be frozen in wild. Natural Talent. 3 mana nature spell. Get a random Naga and a random spell. They cost 1 less. Well, that's not any good in Death Knight. Well, is it any good in Shaman? Even then, no? Interesting. Maybe there's more Naga I'm about to come into. Carefree Cookie, 3 mana 2/2 Murloc Pirate. Demon Hunter Tourist. Okay, we want to talk about him last. Razzle Dazzler, 7 mana 4/4 Naga. Summon a random 5-cost minion. Repeat for each spell school you've cast this game. So this is what you would be doing with the Buttons legendary, right? Summon a random 5-cost minion. Sounds pretty bad. I mean, I could see this being really funny, but it's not going to be any good. Frosty Decor, 5 mana frost spell. Summon 2 2/4 elementals with taunt and death rattle. Gain 4 armor. So this is 5 mana for 2 2/4 taunts and 8 armor. I think Shaman and DK are both like not interested in this, but it's cute. Are there going to be any like fire and nature spells? Yeah, we have a nature spell, but like this is a spell school Death Knight already has. Yeah, you just Smith Death Knight. It's unlucky. 2 mana, get 2 random spells. Well, we're kind of still on Death Knight because we're thinking about the Death Knight tourist aspect of it. Get 2 random spells from spell schools you haven't cast. Oh, so get 2 from spell schools you haven't cast this game. All right, obviously the pool is too wide for wild, but this could be interesting in standard, I suppose. Well, you're not going to play it in either class in wild. All right, Caress the Cabaret Star. 5 mana, 5/5 Naga. While in your hand, play 2 different spell schools to transform. Is it showing me all the combinations? Because that hurts my brain. I pulled it up earlier. Caress, Cabaret Star. All right. So if you play Arcane, it gets draw 2 cards. If you play Fire, deal 6 damage to the enemy hero. Frost, freeze 3 random enemy minions. Nature, gain +2/+2 and taunt. Holy, restore 6 health to your hero. Shadow, destroy 2 random enemy minions. And Fell, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So in Death Knight, you're not going to have access to Fell. What's the tourist? Demon Hunter? So you can bring Demon Hunter. So in Shaman, you could have access to Fell. So what do we have? In Wild, we have Nature and Frost, which are the most common things you'd run in like Shudderwock Shaman. So freeze 3 random enemy minions and gain +2/+2 and taunt. We might be a little late on that. But I could see it being something in Shudder Shaman. All right, Cabaret Headliner. 4 mana, 3/3 Naga. Reduce the cost of a spell of each school in your hand by 2. Well, you could play buttons in you could play buttons in Death Knight and use this to discount your Frostworm's Fury by 2. I don't think that's any good. So really, you'd want this in a rainbow deck. But I think if you're gonna buttons, you're gonna play this in like a rainbow deck for sure. I don't know. That seems all right. And then like in Shutter Shaman, would you play this? So you have nature and you have frost. Probably a little too late, like a year or two too late to see this in just Shutter Shaman. But like I could see it. Like if it ends up showing up, I won't be surprised. Malted Magma. All right, here's the fire for our DK. Deal 1 damage to all enemies. Blah. So you can do that 3 times. I don't see that in either class. Yeah, no. Okay, so then we're on to Warlock. So hold on. Wait, time to look at Cookie. So it's a Demon Hunter Tourist. It's a 3 mana 2/2 Murloc Pirate. You can't bring the Tourist over, right? Like if you play buttons, you can't put Carefree Cookie in your deck, right? Okay. So after a friendly minion dies, summon a random minion that costs 1 more. Okay, so on 4, you pay 1 mana for Goldshire Knoll. And then you play this after, and then you trade it in, and you get a Frozen Giant. Best thing ever? Thoughts? Thoughts? I don't have a lot of faith in this in Wild. It is a pirate, so you get your patches or whatever, but what do you think of the take that Blizzard just made cards for all classes and made them the class of the tourists, so now each class has to run Druid because their own cards are made for a different class? Only Warrior gets to run Druid cards. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. Like, I could see how this is really standard powerful. I don't see it in Wild. Maybe a Murloc deck? Oh, maybe a Murloc deck. All right, so now we have to go to Demon Hunter because we have to evaluate it for Shaman. All right, summon 2 minions from your deck and give them rush. They go back at the end of your turn. All right, how are we breaking this? How are we breaking this? I think it's not like, we have to run Cookie, right? So we're not gonna play this in Shaman as like a break everything card. So if you run, there's this thing, this guy. Whenever this attacks, give your hero +5 attack this turn. So you can run that and Illidari Chumbo Face, the 8 mana 8/8 that attacks after your hero attacks. So you attack with the Void Hound, which gives your hero 5 attack, and you attack that face and deal 13 damage. Is that the best we can do? You play this in the Demon Hunter and you pull the Colossal and the Titan. Oh, you get to keep the Tendrils. Oh. Interesting. I mean, there's not enough room for both, right? You get like some Tendrils and some Taunts, and then your 2 would go back in. But that's cute. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of interesting applications for this in Demon Hunter. I don't know that where it's going to manifest in wild, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff. Isn't there there's an expensive Demon Hunter demon that like when it attacks a minion, excess damage goes face, right? Is 6 mana summon 4 tendrils good? Well, you would get to attack with Xylag. Like, you get to clear some stuff with Xylag, and you'd get to do something with... It's not just summon tendrils. That card is 9 mana, so, like, you could cheat it out and its friends with this. Yeah, that's what I was talking about first, Fish, the Illidari Chumbo guy. So I don't know. I think this has a lot of interesting applications. I don't know if it's going to be strong enough for a while, but it's going to be interesting to try. I think there's some real potential. This is only good with that other thing, I think. 7 mana, 5/8. And like in standard, you can run the 0 mana spell that gives things rush with Finale. It gives +1/+1 with Finale, right? Have I seen what? Oh, I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Skirting Death. Oh, this could be in Shaman. Skirting Death. So 3 mana, choose a minion this turn. Choose a minion. This turn, your hero steals 4 attack from it. So it allows you to trade into something with less attack, and also you get to have 4 attack, which could go face. Isn't this terrible? 3 mana for 4 attack situationally. I wonder if this has some other synergy for it. I don't like. And you don't even get 4 attack if the minion doesn't have 4 attack, right? Skirting Death seems fine. Maybe in standard, not in wild. Shaman can give its hero Wind Fury. All right. Okay. Interesting. That's the only use case I could see for this card. But even then, like, your Rockbiter weapon is more consistent and costs 1 less mana. So... Does it not get -4 attack permanently, though? It says this turn. This turn, your hero steals 4 attack from it. Does it really work that way? Because that's not what the card says. It could work that way, but this card does not say that. All right, we'll talk about Arana in a second. Climbing Hook, so 6 mana, 5/2, doesn't lose durability while you control a minion with 5 or more attack. If it goes to 0, does the minion die? No. That would have to be health. It steals attack. So it doesn't lose durability while you control a minion with 5 or more attack. I can see this being good in standard, depending on what the 5 attack minions are. Because, like, there was that Dancer, the 6 mana 6/6 that came down for 1 a few years back. That'd be a good way to, like, get some extra durability out of this. But the thing is, like, it's so bad to play the turn you play it, right? 6 mana for a 5/2 weapon is pretty awful. And do you so how many times do you have to swing with this before it's good? Six mana 5/3 wouldn't be good. 6 mana 5/4, then it's good. So yeah, I don't know. It seems expensive for what it does. Sigil of Skydiving. So 2 mana fell at the start of your next turn. Summon 3 1/1 pirates with charge. Your cannon has to survive, so you'd be playing cannon and Sigil of Skydiving on 4. I'm just trying to think about, like, there's some pirate supports. I'm trying to think about pirate demon hunter, if that's anything. Excuse me 1 second. But yeah, 2 for 3 1/1 charge minions does seem good, and it's a fell spell, which is relevant a lot of the time, so I could see this being pretty good. And these cards can go in Shaman. No, nothing so far yet, right? I don't think there's an aggro Shaman that's going to play this. So, yeah. But I could see it in Demon Hunter and Wild. I could see it being good enough. Dangerous Cliffside. So 4 mana location, summon 2 pirates with charge. After your hero attacks, reopen it. Seems a little slow. Seems a lot of slow for how little durability it has. This is bad, right? This is even good in Standard? Cannon synergy? But it's so late for the cannon synergy, though. So late for it. I don't know. Then we have Paraglide. So 3 mana, both players draw 3 cards. Outcast, only you do. So this is situationally, you want it to be not Outcast to overdraw your opponent. This isn't like the perfect class to be irrelevant in Wild, I think. But this is good in like Questline Demon Hunter, right? You would play this? Is this worth playing, Shudderwalk? I don't know. 3 mana. No, I mean, like, Shudderwalk doesn't want to mill your opponent, right? So I don't think you're gonna tourist this over to Shaman. But this is a fantastic questline card. You would always play it there. So Adrenaline Fiend, 2 mana 2/2 Demon Pirate. After a friendly pirate attacks, give your hero +1 attack this turn. Okay. So you can play Scrumbus, and then get to so you get to like attack with those charge to give your hero more attack. Then you swing to unlock the location, play 2 more, attack with them, give your hero attack, and then be sad that you don't get to swing again. Is this better than the Sigil draw 3? Well, you draw 3 immediately, so probably. But I don't think you would cut the Sigil. I think you just run them both. So yeah, this is good. I think it has a little wonky synergy with this. I wouldn't call it anti-synergy, but I think it's a little wonky. And I don't know about Pirate Shaman. Patches the Pilot. Get it? I don't. 1 mana 1/1 Demon Pirate. Shuffle 6 parachutes into your deck that summon a 1/1 pirate with charge when drawn. So you play this on 1, and you play your cannon on 2, and then you high roll everything, and it's very funny. I heard this mentioned for Questline Demon Hunter. I think it's awkward for board space and gives you less control over what hands you discount. So I don't think you would run this in Questline Demon Hunter, but I don't know for sure. I'd have to try it. But if Pirate Aggro Demon Hunter, if that's the thing, you would play this. Cookie's a pirate, right? So like you could Pirate Shaman and play this too. I don't see the Pirate Shaman coming together. At least like not anytime soon. But who knows? But all these things are charge stuff. So you could have a pretty strong Cookie turn with all of these like charge Demon Hunter cards if you're gonna, use charge as rush. All right. So that's the end of the Demon Hunter cards. We can look at this now. So Priest Taurus, which means we're going to go to Priest next. 5 mana, 5/6. Damage your hero takes on your turn is redirected to a random enemy. So it's not like Blightborn Tansin in that it goes straight to your opponent's face. It'll like clear the board first, which if you're dealing enough damage doesn't matter. Can you imagine if this was a Warlock Taurus card? I think there are some cards. Okay. I was about to say I think there are some cards in Priest that we run that makes this good. But before we get to that, Questline Demon Hunter has had a gaping hole in its strategy since Tony got nerfed. Because before you would Tony and you would get to an empty deck, and then you would Tony to steal a bunch of your opponent's cards and discount them to give you the final gas if your opponent was otherwise going to outvalue you. But now it doesn't have anything good to run there. Some people have run Tog, but Tog is so expensive, so it's hard to play Tog. This, however, costs as much as Tony used to, and instead of drawing a bunch of your opponent's cards, you can play this and draw through into Fatigue and damage your opponent for lethal that way. So I think that this has a lot of questline applications, even if the Priest cards weren't relevant, but I do think the Priest cards are relevant. So we're going to go check that out. So I think this is a questline Demon Hunter card. Is it no relevance in Shaman, right? Like 0? Is there anything? All right, there's the tourist. So Sauna regular, 5 mana, 5/5 undead. Chat, by the way, just as a side note, I'm not even talking about theme for this one. Theme aside, not even talking about theme. I think this is the worst Hearthstone art. I think this is really ugly. I think this is the ugliest card I've ever seen in Hearthstone. Just like the blend of colors, it just looks like shmush. Nothing's like popping out of it. I don't know. I don't like looking at this card. Anyways, so 5 mana, 5/5 taunt. Costs 1 less for each time your hero has taken damage on your turn. This is really good, right? Is this better than Drifter in Shadow Priest? Because you have Shadow Bomber, you have Raised Dead. That's it though. And then I think there's some stuff in here, like there's the new Mind Blast. And then is that it? So, like, I think it either goes in Shadow Priest if there's enough things, or you would build, like, a Flesh Giant Sauna regular deck and play them together. I'm not really seeing it. And, like, Demon Hunter, outside of just attacking into things, doesn't have anything naturally that damages itself, right? So, I think this is going to show up somewhere because, like, it's really broken. It only starts at 5, right? And especially in Standard, right? When you have more time, Standard is a bit slower. Yeah, I think it'll definitely show up in Standard, but for Wild, I'm not sure this is quite good enough, just because of the class it's in. Oh, I forgot about this one. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Well, we'll see as we go through. If there's enough stuff in here, I could see it show up in one of them. But it's a really good card, so I could see it popping up somewhere. So this is 1 mana 2/4 Undead Pirate. Priest and Druid, I think, can both consider this. I think this just goes in Shadow Priest, right? Like 1 for 2/4. Whenever this minion takes damage, also deal that amount to your hero. And Shadow Priest is so all in. Like, Shadow Priest is about dealing all of its damage right now. So this thing having 4 health, I think outweighs the fact that you take damage too, because you really care about it just sticking around to deal its damage when the attendant is out with it. So I think this is good. I think this is really good for Shadow Priest. It's so overstated for what it is. And then Demon Hunter. Pirate Demon Hunter is so foreign to me that like I'm having trouble evaluating it there. It would have to be as fast as Shadow Priest, right? And it might be. But the real funny to do with this is like what does a lot of infinite damage to a minion? Like we need something like Shield Slam. So you run this with a Rana, right? You Rana and this, and then you deal a bunch of damage to a minion. But there isn't anything like that in Demon Hunter, right? Doesn't Crystallizer break that 5-drop? I don't know that it breaks it. Because it's only good once the 5-drop is down. Oh, you're talking about this one. Does it break it? I think if you're going to do that, just run Drifter instead and use better 1-drops. We already have this card as a 1/4. No, this is different than that. Well, it's different in that this has 1 more attack. So I guess you wouldn't need to run the Taurus. No, you do need to run the Taurus. You're going to run this instead. The new thing for dealing damage to your own business is the Arana. So now we don't have to Silas the thing over, which adds more mana to what we can use. But I don't think Demon Hunter has a no, you just couldn't do it before, right? Hold on. Yes, okay, so you would Silas the Ash Tongue over for 8 mana. Now you just have to play Arana in this for 6 mana. So it's 2 mana cheaper. This one pulls patches. Yes, that's also a lot better. But if you're gonna like do a crazy, funny, silly thing, that's less relevant. But anyways, so what can you target this with in Demon Hunter for 4 mana or less? Prize Plunder. No. I can't think of anything. There's no like Shield Slam-esque infinite damage to a minion thing that the Demon Hunter has access to, is there? I don't think so. Anyways, maybe for eventually. But yeah, I think as an aggro card, this is just broken in Shadow Priest and might manifest in a Pirate Demon Hunter if that's real. Hot Coals, 3 mana fire spell, deal 2 damage to all enemies. If your hero took damage this turn, deal 1 more. So we're not running that in Shadow Priest, right? So it would be in Demon Hunter, no, or non-Shadow Priest, no. So no. Acupuncture, 1 mana, deal 4 damage to both heroes, Shadow. You play this on 1, you play your Fellwing, everyone's happy, especially you. But also it's just like it adds to the burst potential of Shadow Priest. And it's like getting to run copies 3 and 4 of Mind Blast. It's almost as much damage for half the mana. And it dealing damage to yourself is relevant for sauna potato purposes. Why does Shadow Priest keep getting buffed? Because it's not a thing in Standard, and they make cards for Standard. Alright, Nightshade Tea. So 2 mana for deal 3 damage to a minion, deal 2 damage to your hero. Isn't this terrible? If you want to make the sauna thing happen in Standard, I'm sure you run this. But for Wilds, it's too fast for this to be any good, right? I think if anything, it would go in like if you're running a Flesh Giant sauna deck, you could play this, but like, Sensory Deprivation. 6 mana shadow spell. Summon a copy of an enemy minion. If you have 20 or less health, destroy the original. Well, this is bad and wild, right? Because Renathal. But in standard, it's also just very expensive. So if you have 20 or less health, you get to like take your opponent's Titan and destroy their Titan. I mean, people are going to hate this in standard, at least by way of Discover, right? Consider the deal 3 for Shadow Arena Priest? I was. I don't know. I don't think so. It's so much damage to do to yourself. Yeah, I mean, like, this might manifest in standard and people will hate it. Rest in Peace. Each player summons their highest cost minion that died this game. So... Oh, this... I don't think this is going to be good enough, but, like, if you were playing Questline Demon Hunter, you would play a Brute, your opponent would clear it, you would get a Brute, and they would get, like, a Zephyrus. You know, like, that type of thing. But you don't want to pay 3 mana for a Brute. You want to play 0 mana. You already have so many Brutes. And if you're at the stage of the game where you need that value, you're just gonna kill them with Arana, right? And Fatigue. So I don't see this in Demon Hunter. In Priest, so you can get a Behemoth back. Behemoth, Amanthul, and then you'll be sad if you've played your Marin or your Morazon. It goes with like anytime you think that you're going to be cheating out a high cost minion and having it die faster than your opponent will play a high cost minion, it could be good. But I think it's a little too expensive, a little too situational. 6 mana, 5/6 taunt. Set the cost of the top card of your deck to 1. In Demon Hunter, you draw your whole deck, then you use the 0 mana thing. It's like something evidence. Shuffle a card in your hand back into your deck to give your hero 3 attack this turn. You use that to put like Mecha'thun back in your deck. Then play this. And next turn you get a 1-cost Mecha'thun that you can cherish as you lose. I don't know. I think this is a little awkward for Wild. You can like pull Kelp. But even then, eh. Alright, Narain Smooth Fancy. Get 2 fortunes that are copies of the top card of your deck. Are they like constantly shifting? So like you draw the top card of your deck and then this becomes copies of the new top card? Okay. This is just good, isn't it? You play this in Value Arena Priest. You get like, first and foremost, you get a lot of value out of this. You can like get extra copies of a good card. But also you get a lot of extra information, like you can plan your next turn. So I think this is good, isn't it? Four mana, 4/4 draw 2. It's different than draw 2, but it's 2 resources. It's very interesting. I think this card's good. I'd play it in Priest. Would I play it in Demon Hunter? No, right? Well, if the top card of your deck ends up being a Brute, it could be good. But probably not, right? All right, so that was the end of that. So let's check out the tourist card. So this is a Hunter Tourist. We're going to Hunter next. Choose 2 minions, swap their stats. Swap their stats. That's not swap their health. That's swap their stats. This is just good, isn't it? So you play your I don't know, your 1 mana 1/2 clergy thing, whatever that thing is called, the one that gets a random card in your opponent's deck. You play these two on 4. You get a like take your opponent's 8/8 and make it a 1/2. As a 3 mana 3/3, I think this is decent. I could see this being played in Reno Priest, especially if there are good hunter cards. This card seems broken. It might be. I don't think I would say it's broken. It's pretty situational, because you can't target itself. Hunter removal, you can't run this in Hunter. Like, you get to run Hunter and Priest because of this. Alright, let's go look at Hunter. I don't think you'd run that in Demon Hunter. Maybe you would. I don't know. Because you could play it like... you could play like a Sigil Runner, right? And then play that and swap. So, I mean, if you have the room for it, maybe. Oh, the other thing is, like, you'll have something out, right? So, like, say you have the Sigil Runner out. You can... Next turn, you can play the Brute and... trade the Brute's stats with the Sigil Runner and get to go face immediately. Anyways, Hunter. So this is for Hunter and for Priest. Repeat the last spell you cast at an enemy. Oh, it's a pirate? Alright, so you play the 1 mana, deal 2 damage. If it kills it, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. And you replay this, and it hits your opponent's other thing out and kills it if you're lucky. So yeah, I don't think for Shadow Priest. I mean, I could see it being okay in a more classic version of Reno Shadow Priest, but Reno Shadow Priest is mostly minions these days, and the spells you do have are either like Raise Dead or Devour, which you target your own thing, or like Hysteria. Copying Hysteria would be good, but copying Mass Hysteria wouldn't. See, I don't know about in Reno Priest. Maybe. Parrot Sanctuary. Your next Battlecry minion costs 1 less. After you play a Battlecry minion, reopen this. So you can play it and Reno on 5. Does Mind Blast work for this? If it does, this changes a lot, right? Because that would be... But, like, you don't cast it, you just play it and then it does that, right? You don't have to, like, drag it to an enemy. So I'd say it probably doesn't. But if it did, then this would be good, right? Because then that would mean that the DO4 would also work that way. But yeah, I would assume it has to be something you target. I could see this being played in Reno Priest. I don't know that there's a wild hunter deck that would play this. Can't think of anything. You cast it at the hero? No, you don't cast it at the hero. You cast it and then it deals damage to the hero. So like you don't like drag it to your opponent's face. Is 2 mana -1 card cheat 3 mana that good? I don't know that it's that good, which is why I'm saying might. But it allowing you to play Reno a turn early, play Zeph more flexibly. I mean, like it could be good. Reno Hunter, meh. Reno Hunter is so tempo focused. I can't imagine that this would be seeing play in that, but maybe. Okay. Furious Fowls. 6 mana, choose an enemy, summon 2 3/2 birds with immune while attacking to attack it. Not in wild. Death Roll. Destroy an enemy minion. Deal damage equal to its attack, randomly split among all enemies. I think this is going to be so strong in standard. I don't know that it's that good into giants, because like you spend turn 5 destroying 1 giant, and then the damage is randomly split among enemy minions, which is probably more giants. So you'll like deal 3 to their face and 2 to each of their giants, and maybe you'll kill a plunderer or a kobold. So like I don't know that it's that good. I think you want to play this in an aggro deck that otherwise wants to be going face, and you use it to destroy your opponent's taunts or whatever they have out or whatever. But I don't think this is wild quality. It's so expensive. You can bank the discount for the battle cry. Yeah. All right, Sasquatch. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. 7 mana, 4/5, big ol' birdie. Repeat each card you played last turn. Isn't this great? Isn't this really, really good? You play Tundra Rhino and I don't know, Tundra Rhino and Walpertinger or something on the turn. Maybe Tundra Rhino and Timberwolf. I don't know. So you play a Tundra Rhino and stuff the turn prior, and then you like let that stuff die, and then you Sasquatch and get another Tundra Rhino, and you get to charge with your Sasquatch. I'm excited for this for Beast Hunter, and I think it has some pretty interesting applications with that. And then in Priest. Priest is so battlecry heavy. I think it's a little bit more awkward, but like it's replay everything, right? So like if you play Mass Hysteria, you can then Mass Hysteria again. But you can't like, you're not going to be able to Reno Hero and then play this and Reno Hero again. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is a little bit more awkward than it seems for Reno Priest, but I don't think it's like not a consideration. I think it's a consideration. I'm really excited about it in Hunter, and I'm like cautiously excited about it in Priest. So interesting. Feels a touch expensive. I mean, you can play this on curve and it's ready to go. The problem, like, if Heart of the Wild was summon 2 Tundra Rhinos and 2 Shade Hounds and a Hydra, we would play that card. But you have to have found all those cards and played them and had them all die before Heart of the Wild is good. If Heart of the Wild was good on 8, that would be a complete difference from how it is now. That would be so much better. This is ready to go the turn after you do anything. And it like comes with the body itself. And it's also good with Heart of the Wild. So you can like play Rhino, play this, and then play Heart of the Wild. You know, like that's a lot. So, I don't know. This is better than that for sure. I think this card's good in Beast Hunter. And it can be discounted by the weapon. Heart of the Wild can't be discounted by the weapon. All right, then we have Ranger Gilly, the Warrior Tourist. We'll check that out in a second. Catch of the Day, 1 mana 3/3 beast with Rush. Summon a 2/1 worm for your opponent. Ew, what is this? What is that thing? K9's best friend? This does make K9 better, doesn't it? Okay, so is this ever good without K9 style synergy? Read the flavor text. Only its fish mother thinks it's a catch. All right, yeah, that's pretty good. Hmm. I'm skeptical about just running this for its own merits. Just because it's like a 1 mana 3/1, right? You're giving your opponent a 2/1. Oh, but you can run this in. What can you run this in? You can run this in Priest, right? Yeah. So you could play this and then play Shadow or Devour for big funnies. But you can't just like tempo this, right? Because it's just a 3/1 if you do that. Actually, I have no idea how to evaluate this. I think this is awkward. It might be good, though. It might be the best of this type of effect we've ever seen. Pet Parrot. 2 mana 1/1. Repeat the last 1-cost card you played. Well, all right. Well, okay. Maybe that's a little better. I think it's more standard, though. Is there anything more interesting to copy than that? Oh, you could copy Attendant in Priest. I don't think you want to, though. If this was a pirate beast, like the other parrot, maybe. Tracking? Would that copy a quest? If it was the last 1-cost you played and then you completed the quest. Funnel cakes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, the thing is, okay, so you funnel cakes, right? And then you play this and it hits the thing on the side. It's like net nothing because this costs 2 to play. Astral Automaton. All right. Yeah. So that's all like standard stuff. Oh, you can play it with the boar. Pollute your raised dead. Thought you could have duplicates in the secret zone now? What's the secret zone? Anyways. Trusty Fishing Rod. 3 mana 1/2. After your hero attacks, summon a 1-cost minion from your deck. Alright, so this catch of the day is getting better and better. Better by the moment. Would you play this in Beast Hunter? Don't you just play this in Shadow Priest? Isn't this just great in Shadow Priest? It is a Boar Priest card, that's true. Maybe. Oh, it's only 2 durability? It's kind of bad, right? It's only 2 durability. I thought it was 3 durability for a second. Not when you hit Shadow Bomber, it's not? I don't know. Summon a 3/1? I feel like that's a high roller. That's a high roll. Oh my goodness, they have Clergy in Standard. This is a Clergy tutor in Standard. It's so good. I don't know, that's interesting. I don't really see it in Wild. Its durability is so low. So it had to be like you want to find something really important. And I don't think there's... It might be good for Boar Priest, but you can already tutor minions so much faster in Priest. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's probably going to be standard interesting, but not in Wild. Bird Watching. 2 mana. Discover a minion from your deck. Give all copies of it +2/+1 wherever they are. What kind of shuffle stuff do we have? Insane for Egg Hunter? Oh. Except you're drawing the minion. You don't want to do that. If it was Discover a Copy, sure, but... Oh, so you guys are saying like if you're only gonna run Egg and Lion and Huhurin, you just play it to draw the egg, so you can cut things like the 3 for 2/2 and the Meat Wagon. I don't think you can eliminate enough minions for this to be good. I think so you want the mandatory minions are Egg, Huhuran, Lion, and ETC, so you can have Tundra Rhino, right? Or do you just abandon Charge and run just those 3? But anyways, that's 4 otherwise, so you'll frequently not hit your Egg. And depending on how bad that is, like depending on what you've drawn already, you might have to pull your like Lion out of your deck. I don't know. It's weird. I could see it, and I also I'm not confident. I feel like it might not be better. It could, you know what? It could just be I'm overthinking it, and you run the list as it is, and you'll take the Egg if you draw it, but you'll also take the Automaton or the Meat Wagon if you draw it. All right, maybe. All right, so that's the last Hunter card. One moment, please. If you use it on Mystery Egg, I wonder if it would then make the mini egg be a 3/2 or in addition to the egg. I think different arts tend to count as different things. I think that's how it's been for a lot of stuff like that. But even if so, I don't think it would buff the ones that don't exist yet. So I don't think you would get a 1/1 egg or like a 1-cost egg that would also get the buff because it wasn't around. It didn't exist. They are both eggs for the sake of things like Flick. All right. Well, it says wherever they are, but it's not anywhere. It says wherever they are, not like all future ones. I think wherever you are only affects hand, deck, and battlefield. It doesn't affect things that don't exist. Anyways, Ranger Gilly, 6 mana, 4/6, Warrior Tourist. So we're going to Warrior next. At the end of your turn, get a 2/3 Crocolisk, Death Rattle, give all minions in your hand +2/+3. So the idea is every turn you get a Croc, and that way you'll have at least one thing to buff when it dies. 6 mana, 4/6, get a Crocolisk, Death Rattle, give all your stuff +2/+3. It seems pretty slow for Wild, obviously, but Standard. Excuse me. Standard, is that good? Probably, I don't know. At least on curve, right? I don't know, maybe not. It might be bad. Let's go look at Warrior. All right, so Cup of Muscle. Give a minion in your hand +2/+1 for 1 mana. We like this for Samuro. It's only hitting a thing, right? This isn't good, I don't think. Okay, in the deck, in the Warrior deck where you're only running the Chain Gangs and you're running the 2-cost thing that draws a taunt minion from your deck and gives it +3/+3. Like in that deck, this would be good because you're running like very low minion count to make sure that all of your buffs hit that taunt anyway. This is a meme deck. Yeah, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's because nobody plays it. But there's the 2, what's it called? It got reworked. It's like Stolen Goods or something. It's like draw a taunt minion from your deck and give it +3/+3 for 2. There's a minion that decreases cards not from your class by 1. Oh, so you could play that and then do this in Hunter? Is there a Hunter minion? Like, okay, so Walpertinger would like this. But then if you miss, you're sad. Yeah, stolen goods. That's the one. So in a stolen goods Serenite Chain Gang deck, this would be funny, but I don't really see it. I don't think this is a wild card. The 5/5 elemental that goes to 0. Is that, I haven't encountered it yet. Char. So 4 mana fire spell, deals 7 damage to a minion. Give a minion in your hand stats equal to the excess damage. It's just too expensive for wild, right? Yeah. I can see that in standard, though. Line Cook. Tradable. Taunt. When you draw this, get a copy of it. So it's infinite value. I want to build it. All right, so this is well, okay, so you play this and then you trade it. You get a copy of it. I'm so excited to build the worst deck ever. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be so bad. All right, screw Serenite Chain Gang. It's out. It's actually just out. We're over it. We're over Serenite Chain Gang forever. We're building Line Cook Warrior. It's gonna be so bad, but I'm gonna, you know, enjoy building it, getting excited for it, and losing one game with it and deleting it. It's gonna be perfect. Keeps buff when you trade it, right? Yeah. So like it just gets bigger and bigger as long as you're always trading one. And then there are so many good ways to tutor it. So you play. We talked about the stolen goods. You play that, and you have the 1-cost Mana Thirst one that like doubles its health and stuff. So like this could this could be pretty spicy. Rad Quest, I don't know. Like I would want to, but like it's like with this strategy, it's going to come online so slow. I don't think cards keep buffs when they go from hand to deck. Normally, you are right, but with tradable specifically, like if I Finley this to my deck, it goes away. If I trade it, it keeps it. Trading a card keeps the keeps enchantments. Man, that's spicy. I'm excited to build that. All you can eat. 3 mana, draw 3 minions of different minion types. Now, this card is super good for Risky Skipper decks. So you play this and you get Risky Skipper, an Ancient Totem, and Target Dummy. And then you just go off next turn with your Risky Skipper stuff. Like, this is so good for that deck. I don't know what else to say about it. You play this and you play Roaring Applause and you play the Enrage card that draws 2 and you do whatever Risky Skipper payoff you were planning to do. It's a really good card. Undercooked Cow. Oh, I haven't even been thinking about this for none of this for Hunter. Hunter, not in Wild. Maybe Reno Hunter. Like I bet you Reno Hunter has the minion types for this. So I do think that in like a Reno Hunter list, you would just play this. How's Wild's Warrior draw right now? Just got better. Undercooked Calamari. 4 mana, 3/4 beast. Destroy an enemy minion with attack less than or equal to this minion's. 4 mana, 3/4. Destroy a 3 or less attack thing. I mean, this is going to be nice and standard, right? Regardless. Oh, you could Hunter Taurus this. Oh, but to Hunter Taurus, you have to run Garbage Prime, right? Like stinky poo-poo thing. So you're not going to play Beast Hunter. It'd just be like, if you wanted to run that in like a Reno Hunter, maybe? Not seeing it so far. I think if you were going to Taurus into Hunter, you would play this. But I haven't seen a reason to do it yet. Chat, can I make a terrible joke? I don't know. I read this. No, I'm not going there. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. I read every time I read the title, I'm like, oh, okay, that's gross. but it's like Munster cheese. It's like Munster cheese. I can't do it. I can't do it. Sorry. You can read the title and look at the character, and if you're as gross as I am, you can make the same leap. But like, it's not like I sat here thinking about it. It was just I read it. I was like, what? Anyways, 9 mana 6/9 elemental taunt. At the end of your turn, summon an elemental with stats equal to this minion's. I think this could be standard strong, right? There's something that discounts it. There's something that discounts it in one of the two classes that can play it. Oh, I think it might be Druid. But anyways, isn't this decent in standard? Probably. Like you buff it. It's too highbrow for you guys. All right, I'm glad that it's just me. Food fight. 3/4. Summon a 0/6 entree for your opponent. When it dies, summon a minion from your deck. What is a devastating... Alright, not Hunter. Because in Hunter, we'd have to summon the tourist guy sometimes. What's a devastating thing we could get out on 3? Not Mechathune. Something that's like okay to have whenever. Because like you can play this and shield slam it. So depending on how you've built your deck, you could put big things in it. I feel like this is a really good big warrior card. You can also just play this and then brawl the next turn. So yeah, I don't know. If you're a big warrior fan, I think like I'm not saying this is good, right? Like this isn't going to be like a tier 1 card. But like if you want to play big warrior, I think this is one of the best big warrior support cards ever. Especially if the 0/6 has that text on it, because then if you're up against something where they play like a raised dead or something, they have to play something that gives you more stuff. Interesting card. I don't know that it's going to break anything. Draconic Delicacy. Draconic Delicacy. 8 mana 6/6 dragon. Rush elusive. Can only take 1 damage at a time. I feel like Standard's going to hate this. And it's not a lot of stats, but like it gets rush and you can't target it with things. So you can't like, in order to clear this in one go, you have to be using like Shadow Word Ruin or Twisting Nether or something like that. Something where you don't have to deliberately target it. You can't trade into it very well. So it's just like a pretty decent threat. So like if stuff like this is going to be good. Also, you can play it in Standard, you can play it with Chemical Spill, right? And then it comes down as a 6/5. So yeah, this seems oppressive for Standard, honestly. In the right Deadly Shot, yeah. You see, I like if Big Hunter is anything in Standard, people are gonna hate this maybe, but it could just be that it's like a perfectly fine payoff because it's just a 6/5. Then we have the Tourist. Then we have the Rye Cleaver. So 7 mana 4/2, Battlecry and Death Rattle get a slice of bread, and then get 2 to sandwich any minions in between. So like once you've swung with it a second time, everything in between the 2 slices become part of the sandwich. And the sandwich, summon the minions stuffed in this sandwich. So what you do is you play this on 7, then you lose the next turn. But if you don't, you play the 1-cost warrior card. Which one did they have? Is there Standard pack or Twist pack? I forget. They have like a like the pack that Rogue has. Warrior has one too. It fills your hand with random taunt minions. So you you play this on 7, swing with it to get your bread. Next turn you play the pack and swing with it again. You get the other bread, and it puts all the random taunt minions into the sandwich. and you get to summon all those things for 2 mana. How good is that? Well, I'll tell you. Acidic Swamp Ooze, Rust Rot Viper, Sticky Finger. If your opponent does anything to this costs 7. If your opponent does anything to it, it's so bad, right? Like, in a world where weapon removal is meant to be so plentiful and downside free, you know, this is just always going to be a waste. So, my favorite one about Sticky Finger is you and your opponent will each have a bread slice, and it'll just sit there in your hand. You know what I think it should do? I think it should squish everything from the right side of your hand and the left side of your opponent's hand together and create an infinity sandwich. I don't know. But it doesn't do that. So is this good in standard or wild? No. Oh, this is the Hunter Tourist class, right? So Hunter can play this. So both of those have a pack. You could do it for Beasts too. Okay, so if you Hunter Tourist this into Hunter, right? Yeah, it's like it's Warrior Tourist this into Hunter. You can do the Beast pack, get your 5 random beasts, just like we were going to do with the Taunt pack. And then next turn, you get to play your 2 mana Summon 5 Beasts pack and also play Tundra Rhino and go face. It's wonderful. It's the best strategy that you can do that isn't one of the others, at least. All right, so that was the last warrior card. So let's go look at the Warrior Taurus guy. Counterpoint, random beasts and wild, but 2 mana for summon 5 random beasts. That's not that's not the worst part of this card. The worst part of this card is having to run a 7 mana 4/2 weapon and avoid it getting destroyed. If I can accomplish my 5 random beasts for 2 alongside my Tundra Rhino, I guess it's 3, right? Because you have to pay the 1 mana for the pack. If you get that far, I think it's good. If you could get that far, you've dealt 8 damage to the weapon, you have your Tundra Rhino, and you have 5 random beasts. That's probably devastating. Probably. It's just like getting to 7 mana where you play this and then not having it removed. That's the hard part, I think. It's pronounced Mane. That's true, actually. Just draw the Rhino after the weapon so it goes in your pack. True. If you do that, then you get to play Shadehound or something. And it's not that hard to play Timberwolf alongside that. Anyways, Ham the Hungry, 6 mana 3/3 Druid Tourist. So Druid cards get to go in Warrior. Taunt, at the end of your turn, eat a minion in the enemy's deck to gain +2/+2. Who thinks this card's effect is good? Raise your hand. I actually do think that this is a very good card, because the Druid cards that Warrior gets to run because of this are very good. So, like, even though this is Gen with Taunt, I do think it's very good, because Warrior needs those cards, right? It's good at upsetting your opponent. I think it'll be annoying sometimes. But it's like if Ticketus only destroyed 1 card. So if you're playing against a deck that runs a very small amount of extremely important minions, then it's very strong, because if your opponent's only running Luna and 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices for their quest, then when it eats the Luna, they can't pop off, and that's huge for you. But if your opponent is running Reno Priest and it destroys their, what's the most important card? Like, what's a really important minion? Like Reno. All right, so like, yeah, they don't get to draw their Reno, but it's like knowing the last card in your deck you'll draw. So if anything, it just gives them more information to play around, you know, like they know which card they're never drawing. So there's a very, very small
a very small, narrow amount of decks where this actually matters against it. So like Tog Druid maybe. Like this will be good against Tog Druid because if you hit the Aviana or you hit the Tog or you hit the Dorian or you hit the ANR, it could matter a lot. But like those amount of decks are very narrow. So I don't think this effect is good. Which isn't to say it doesn't have its like niche uses if you want to run a warrior tech pile. Or that you're not going to be happy to have it sometimes when you're running it for Druid Tourist, but you're running this for Druid Tourist. That's the good part about this card, I think. It's otherwise like it's not a good disruption tool. It's going to seem like a good disruption tool every once in a while when it hits something impactful, but it's not that good a disruption tool. So let's go look at the Druid. Let's go look at the Druid things. I guess my point in all that is if we're running it just for its regular effect, it's a bait card. But the fact that you get to run a whole bunch of good cards because you're running it makes it a really good card. I mean, it's a base. It's a 6 mana 5/5 taunt that mills a card from the opponent. No, that's not a good base. That's not a good base. I would never run like 6 mana 5/5 taunt mill an opponent's card. I would never run that. It's like it's going to be relevant sometimes. It has some matchups where it's very powerful, some niche matchups where it's a very strong effect. But by and large, it's not a good card. That's my big opinion on that one. Except that it's Druid Tourist, and because it does a really strong thing, it's like Gen, right? Gen is a really strong card. You just never want to draw it. But because it it has the power of Gen, at start of game it lets you run good things, you know. So you're gonna see a lot of this card doing good stuff because you have a good reason to run it otherwise. So because it's allowing you to run really broken cards in your deck, it'll be in your deck anyway in the niche matchups where it's actually good. I'm just annoyed that it'll do something relevant in 150 games when played versus you. Sure. Yeah. If warriors are really down to run druid cards, we're going to see this guy a good amount. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree and have said that a couple times now. If it was a 2 mana 1/1 with this effect, it'd be fine. If it was if it was cheaper. If it was a 2 mana 1/1 with that effect, it'd be really good, right? Because then it's a 2 mana 3/3 taunt that'll get bigger next turn. All right, so okay. First of all, we have Sleep Under the Stars. What is this thing? What is this? So 7 mana, choose thrice. We know from choose twice that you can choose the same effect multiple times. So it's a 7 mana arcane spell. Draw 2 cards, gain 5 armor, refresh 3 mana crystals. So in Warrior, you could play this in like an Odin Warrior. You get to draw cards when you need to, and if your Odin is already online, this is 7 mana 15 damage, you know. Also, if you want to, let's see, this could be 1 mana draw 2 cards. But only on 7, right? Because like if you choose draw 2 cards and refresh 3 mana crystals twice, it's just 1 mana draw 2 cards, but you have to be able to play it first. I think this would be a little bit awkward, but spoiler alert, Warrior gets ramp. Like a little awkward for Warrior, but spoiler alert, they have ramp. So I think this is just generally a phenomenal card in both classes. This is gonna be very good in both, I think. Then we have Bouldery Buddy. Okay, this one I don't really understand. So 7 mana 6/7 elemental rush taunt. If you have 10 mana crystals, it costs 1. That's so good. You just have to get to 10 mana crystals, and then this is a 1 mana 6/7 rush taunt. It's so strong. So I think that's really good, especially in standard. I feel like this is getting nerfed because of standard. Like, it's gonna be really easy to get to 10 mana crystals, and then this is just a 1 mana. Like you play this alongside a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. It just seems really strong. Does Warrior have the ramp? I think they're only getting 1 ramp spell, so it might not. I mean, if you're touristing Druid anyway, I could see it. Hey, Tom. New Heights. So this is Guff copies 2 and 3, and I think it's better than Guff, at least in Wild. So 3 mana, increase your maximum mana by 3, and gain an empty mana crystal. So it's like old bad wild. It's like the nerfed Wild Growth, except that it also increases your maximum mana by 3. And with Guff, you really don't need to get to 20 mana crystals, right? Like as soon as you get to like 11 or 12, that's when you start doing disgusting stuff, because you can like Aviana and play other things much easier. So like, let's see, if you don't draw ANR and you just have Aviana, how many mana crystals do you need to kill your opponent? So Bran, Astalor is 4. So you can do that with Aviana now without ANR if you've just played this. Bran, Bran, ETC, Alex. So you don't need ANR anymore to pull off those turns as easily or as often. Because now in addition to Guff and ANR, you can combo really easily with this as well. And this stacks. So if you play this and then Guff, your max is 20. But if you play Guff and then this, your max is 23. If you play Guff and then this and then the other copy, and then you play what is it, Audio Technician, the 2 mana 2/3, then you have 11. So you have to be careful with those setting ones, because the 2 mana 2/3 bot, sets you to 11. Guff sets you to 20. They don't give you 10 mana crystals or 1 mana crystal. Audio amplifier, thank you. Yes. So you have to make sure that you're playing this after those things if you're running them both. Does 26 matter for anything? No. Like I said, you don't need to get to 20 for Guff to be doing its thing. So that's what makes this so strong, is it costs 2 less than Guff, and it gives you plenty of mana to do stupid stuff with. So Raw Bran Astalor, that's true. Oh my goodness. This lets you I didn't even think about just running Bran and Astalor in well, I mean, you would play new Bran anyway, right? So I guess maybe that's not as well. I don't know. Interesting. So yeah, it's a really good card. It's mini Guff. I think it's better Guff. In some ways, not in all ways, because Guff is also a draw engine, right? But the fact that this comes down 2 turns sooner, I don't know. I think it's good, really good. And you just play this as the second and third copy of Guff. It's great. It's different than Guff. It's kind of different, but it's also very much the same. So it's like running 3 Guffs. A lot of what makes Guff good is as good in this card. So yeah, I think this is going in every Druid deck, and it's going to go in every Druid deck that's running Guff is going to run this. Is it going in every Warrior deck? No, because I think there are some combo Warriors that don't want to run the Tourist card, and yeah, but it would go in Odin. Like, I think Odin Control Warrior can be a thing again in Wild with this and with this. It represents like 2 board spaces. Oh, you're saying because it gets rid of ANR and the 5/5 taunt. I guess. All right, then we have Oh no, we'll talk about him in a minute because he's the tourist. Then we have Tortolan Traveler. So 3 mana, 1/5 taunt. Draw another taunt minion, reduce its cost by 2. Well, in Funny Line Cook Warrior, I don't want to run this, right? I think I also don't want to run the taunt. I also don't want to run the tourist. So it's not going in that. What else would you want this in? I miss N'Zoth. Why Death Rattle, Dedge? Yeah, I mean, like, Death Rattles have been so bad for so long. Doesn't it keep the discount? Oh. But the thing is, like, I want my cards that draw taunts to draw that, right? I don't want to play. I don't want to play Stolen Goods or whatever it's called. To draw a minion and give it +3/+3 and have that not hit Line Cook. But I don't know. Is making it cost 1 better? Completely ruining the consistency of my deck to get that reduced cost thing. Ziliax Tutor. Oh, yeah, I guess you have Ziliax and everything. You run that. Yeah. You missed when Reno didn't exist? I know, yeah. Like, N'Zoth's never going to be good again. Not as long as Reno exists the way that it does, huh? Too bad. I don't think this is anything. But it's like the type of thing that could be something. Zero mana Dirty Rat is what you see? Oh, fair enough. All right, so then we have Hydration Station. So 8 mana, resurrect your 3 highest cost taunt minions. Kind of similar problem, right? They just they do the Reno thing and then you're sad. But also in standard, right? Your this with Unkiliax has got to be brutal. This is a good standard card because that Warrior also has that elemental thing that like that's like really strong. But yeah, so like this is getting like 2 in the Warrior one. This is getting like 2 Ziliax and the elemental that copies itself. Hadronox, am I right? Yeah, if only. Oh, you know what's nice? Well, no, never mind. And then we have Trail Mix. So 2 mana nature spell, gain 2 mana crystals next turn only. And this one's a little weird. I don't I don't know if I think this is good or not. I think it might be much more impactful in Warrior than in Druid because Warrior has less options like this. But another thing that I think matters a lot is if you play this on turn 10, do you get 11 mana or do you get nothing caps anymore, right? It, like extra mana always is extra, so you will have 11 mana if you play this on 9, even if you haven't played the other thing yet. No caps? All right. No cap, like the kids say. So this allows you to do things you couldn't otherwise do. It's a whole card for that, though. I honestly don't know what to say about it. What I think, part of what I think is good is if you play it on turn 3, you can Reno on turn 4. You know, like you can do stuff like that. You can get out of Mutanus or Theatar early too. So I think it's got some potential, but I don't like the ramp in Druid. Like we have so many wild grows in Druid now that I don't think that this is worth running in Druid. I think Innervate is just better than this in Druid anyway. So you'd have to be running max copies of Innervate before you would consider this. But like I said, Warrior has much fewer copies of cards like that. So it could be that this is really good in a Wild Warrior, like a Reno Warrior, just so that you can more flexibly play your higher cost cards. I don't know. In like a Tony style Druid, it would give you the ability to like, all right, so Tog Dorian Druid, you could play this on 2 even, and then just Oaken summons, and then no, it'd have to be on 3, right? Either way, it shortens the cap. Like you need to play Dorian and capture Cold Tomb of Mine and have 1 mana left over for ANR. So that is turn 7 normally. So this would allow you to go in 2 turns before that. I don't know, honestly. I don't know how good this card is. I think we're going to have to try it. Bioproject is better than this. I think in a lot of ways, yeah. But like I do think that this has a lot higher potential in Warrior just because the ramp competition is so much lower. So I think there's a good chance that this is a Warrior card if it's anything. Could have been a cool M&M brand deal. Yeah, that's true. Trail mix on 2 and Guff on 3, yeah. But like you need more interactions than that for it to be worth it, right? And like wild growth is generally better to do on 2, and you have so many wild growths you can play now. Then we have Dozing Dragon. So 5 mana, 3/5 dragon, dormant for 2 turns, while dormant, summon a 3/5 dragon with taunt at the end of your turn. So you get 1 taunt now. Then you get another taunt the next turn, and then this awakens on the 3rd turn. It seems strong in standard. Taunt just isn't enough in wild. It's not going to be a wild card. Not in either class. Battlecry, summon 2 random locations. So 7 mana, 4/5 pirate for Druid. If you have 7 mana in Druid, do you want to be doing this? And I think the answer is no. Same thing with Warrior in both formats, right? This seems terrible to me. Is this good? Like, what if you get 2 or like the imp location is in there, and the beast location, at least for wild. Like, okay, so wild we're already like so out. There's so many bad hits. There's 2 beast locations, right? Yeah, there's so many hits that there's like nothing. There's nothing. Summon 2 random petting zoos. Yeah, I don't think this is a terrible card to me. Isn't this awful? I think it's awful. Hiking Trail, 3 mana. Discover a taunt minion. After you gain armor, reopen this. If this was 3 mana spell for discover a taunt minion 3 times, I would still think it was bad, right? Isn't this awful? All right, so that's the end of the Druid cards. Except for this one. So Mage Tourist. So we're going to go to Mage next. Battlecry, in 3 turns, replay every spell you've cast between now and then. All right, you guys need the vision. All right. Okay, we play this on 5 in Druid. Then we play Due Process. And then we play Due Process. And then we play the Due Process we got off of Moonlit Guidance. And then so many Due Process happen. And our opponent's just drawing all the cards. All right? Isn't it so funny? Use the Druid location with the Armor Dude to turn 4 giants, hypothetically. The Armor Dude. Which giant? If we solar Due Process, will it solar the Due Process again? I don't think so. I think it'll recast it, and then if you play another spell that turn, it'll do it. But yeah, so there's also that new ramp spell, right? So the 3 mana one that increases your cap by 3. When you use a location, gain armor. Is that a neutral one? But yeah, so you play both of your like wild growths that raise your cap by 3 in between, and then you have 6 more. Whoa. So I think this is interesting. I think it has some potential in Druid. The only place you can play it. And that's my story about that. So let's go look at Mage, wherever Mage is, probably in the order that makes sense. So these are Mage and Druid cards. All right, your first spell each turn costs 2 less. Garbage. Tide Pools. 3 mana, discover a spell that costs 3 or less. After you cast a spell, reopen this. I could see it being really good, especially in like Spell Mage in Standard, but maybe if you're touristing anyway in Druid, you could play this. But I'm not excited about it. You certainly don't play it in Wild. Deal 2 damage randomly split among all enemies. For Mage Quest purposes, this is 2 ticks, right? So it's 2. Oh, it is among all enemies. Oh yeah, and it goes really well with Flamewaker. Huh. This is spicy APM Quest Mage card, huh? That's cool. Are we playing it in Druid? In Druid, you could play it with the owl spell damage stuff. And then be sad when it sucks. But yeah, I can see that manifesting in Standard. I don't know about it in Wild. Choose a minion. If it's an enemy, freeze it. If it's a friendly, give it spell damage. So this you would play in like spell damage Druid, and it flexes to be like crowd control. Seems really bad to me. It's like so low impact. I don't know. Thoughts on the Taurus mechanic as a whole? Ask me again at the end. I'm still like, this is the first time I'm like fully familiarizing myself with the cards. So you'll have to show me some mercy on that account. Like my first impression was I didn't like it, but we'll see how I feel about it at the end. Taurus Potion, the dance spell or something, I don't know. Someone will take me hostage with it. There you go. Paladin Taurus. Okay, so Rising Waves. Deal 2 damage to all minions. If none die, deal 2 more. So this is 3 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions. Like, if you're playing this in Wild, well done, Electric Sheep. If you're playing this in Wild, it's either like it's never going to any board you would play this into is going to kill something on the first round. So it's killing like a patches, so it's not going to trigger twice. The situations where this would trigger twice are if your opponent has just a Maleficent Horror out, and then you can kill the horror. But yeah, I think this card is quite bad. Sorry, I was just singing if my wife called me. It's so bad. Yeah, it's real bad, right? If you have spell power, it's worse. True. Under the Sea or Under the Sea. Spacebar? Oh my goodness. Get it? Who gets it? Who gets it? Nobody gets it. So draw a different spell, summon a random minion of that spell's cost. Is there a spell that costs 30? No. Are you gonna play Spiteful Summoner Mage in Standard? Or Spiteful Summoner Druid? You play just 10 cost spells to get something big with this? I think we're past that. So yeah. Tsunami. So for 8 frost spells, summon 3/3/6 water elementals that freeze. They attack random enemies. Well, in Druid, you can ramp into this. In Mage, you can play Frostless Jaina and then lose promptly. But in a world where you didn't, you could heal for 9. We've seen a card like this before. Yeah, it's 8 for summon 2, and you just get to freeze 1 thing. But this deals the damage immediately, summons 1 more elemental, but you have less control over what gets frozen. But yeah, I don't know. Like in Wild, this never manifests anyway. Nogrin Slam? Yeah, it is similar to Nogrin Slam. It's like Deep Freeze meets Nogrin Slam. Are you supposed to pronounce that Nagrand? Is it Nagrand Slam? That makes sense. Surfalopod. So 5 mana, 5/6 beast. Battlecry. The next spell you draw is cast when drawn. Wow, these are all awful. Oh, okay, here's the Lotheb. So 4 mana, 4/4. Both players' spells cost 5 until the end of your next turn. So this is an LPG card. Not only do you get to Lotheb your opponent on turn 4, but then next turn you get to play your LPG. Who's in? This with Orb? I can see Orb. So you can play this and then you can Tsunami. Plus the effect would override a Neophyte or Lotheb. Oh, so like if you've been Lothebbed, you can get out of it on turn 9, is what you're saying. I invoked the LPG rule of the Corb Meowth Raffle podcast when that existed. What is the LPG rule? I can play so much egg. I can play more egg. I'm lying. What? Play Puzzle Box on 5? Yeah, it's the best card ever. Are you going to play this in Druid? So in Druid, you play this on 4, and then you play Celestial Alignment on 5? Oh my gosh, remember when Celestial Alignment ruined your opponent too? Oh my god, what a cringe card. Just like, I'm suddenly bummed out even remembering it. Oh man, I hated that card. But yeah, this until the end of your next turn. Yeah, okay, so you play this on 4, then you Celestial Alignment on 5. It's perfect. If you're talking about a new card in relation to LPG, then the card is bad. Oh, that's funny. Lock out your opponent into Tsunami isn't bad? Yeah, I can see that. Like, I bet this will manifest in some ways in Standard. Oh, is that it? Man, we powered through the Mage ones. They suck. Alright, so Paladin Tourist. After you cast a spell, summon a random 2-cost minion and give it Divine Shield. Oh my goodness, that is a standard card if I've ever seen one. So now we just have to figure out if there are any Paladin cards we want in Mage. Man, did Mage get hosed yet again? Mage, like, almost... You know what's funny? It's like, Mage never gets anything that really impacts Wild unless it works for the quest, right? It's like Quest Mage is the only Wild archetype that's supported by standard cards. Alright, so Life-Saving Aura. At the end of your turn, get a 1-cost Sunscreen that gives +1/+2. Okay, so I guess this gives you 3 Quest Mage ticks, but it's pretty slow. It's a holy spell. I have an amazing replay of War Crimes against OTC with Quest Mage and Celestial Alignment. He locked me with Celestial Alignment and still managed to complete quest and play it, and proceeded to pair it and play the Tog spell and switch decks. You were banned for over a year in OTC's chat for that? Interesting. Hi, Romano. It's support for stuff that benefits from targeted buffs. When they print Nadu in the mini set, you'll see. Ah, very good. So yeah, oh, it's a Galvadon card. It's perfect. It's a Galvadon card. We won. Aegis support, perfect. But yeah, this is doo-doo, right? I don't know. I could see it in Quest Mage. Maybe it's 3 ticks. 3 ticks on Quest Mage. That's got to be something. Maybe it's something bad. And then we have to run that stupid Paladin Tourist card. Nah. All right, Divine Brew. So 1 mana, give a character Divine Shield. If it already has one, give it +1 attack. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, chat. Is it cards that didn't start in your deck, or is it cards from other classes that cost less? What is that minion? Because I want to Aegis stuff. I want to Aegis so much stuff. I could see it to play with the new mech from last mini set. Which one was it? Other classes? Okay, so this and this only aid us for free in Mage. I really want to do it in Paladin. But I guess, I don't know. Realistically, I think none of these have any application so far. All right, then we have Service Ace. 3 mana, 3/3. After this minion gains attack, reduce the cost of the highest cost card in your hand by 1. Oh, so you run this and Aedis, and then this, and this. Huh. It's all coming together. You run Galvadon, and then you make a YouTube video. Or you don't, because you can't win enough games. Sea Shanty, 10 mana, summon 3 5/5 pirates, cost 1 less for each spell you've cast on characters this game. Oh my goodness. Look at all this. None of this is good in Mage, I think. I think you're playing everything so far you're playing in Paladin. 3 5/5 pirates. Cost 1 less for each spell you've cast on characters this game. Cast on characters, so you can target enemies too. Huh. Grillmaster. 4 mana, 3/4. Draw your lowest cost card. Death Rattle, draw your highest cost card. Any Uther tutors? Where are my Uther tutors at? What's my lowest cost card? Crystology? I could see this in Uther Paladin or Reno Paladin. It is a little expensive. I could see how this wouldn't be good enough. But you're drawing 2 cards, 2 very specific cards, so I do like this art, this money. Your next spell you cast has lifesteal. So 4 mana, 2/7, your next spell costs lifesteal. I was thinking about touristing this into Mage, but it's still expensive, right? Like, you know, you play this and then you play Flame Strike, and it's really funny, but I don't know. Is Flame Strike in the core set right now? Can we do that in standard? I feel like standard Mage or standard generally is so far beyond Flame Strike that it doesn't matter, right? So what do you really want to do with this? Oh, I know what you want to do with this. I'll tell you what you want to do with this. Prismatic Beam. That's what you want to do with this. Flame Strike is in the gift. All right, Power Spike. Deal 4 damage. Give a random friendly minion +4/+4. Wow, that's terrible. 5 mana, 3/8 rush. After this attacks, turn into a location. The location is give a friendly minion +3 and rush. Turn back into a minion. This is at least standard good, right? Especially with all the hand buff stuff. Oh, and all the targeting stuff. If I play this attack and then activate the location, can he attack again? Okay, so he's giving more attack the more times you target with him. That's cool. Yes, but the location will be closed? All right, I'm out. It's probably still good, at least for standard, right? But there's no, like, you know, flippy flappy combo potential for wild. This could go in Mage too. Me. Volleyball. Okay. After your hero attacks, get a 1-cost sunscreen that gives +1/+2. Would Mage play this? It's like a little Krakatoa on the turn traps. Oh, okay. Oh, it's okay. Flame Strike isn't in the gifts, but Flame Strike isn't standard. Okay. It's worse for Mornia. Oh, this. Yeah, but it costs 2 less. So, all right, this is interesting. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I could play in an Aegis deck. But I want to do it in Mage so I can run the thing that like reduces the cost of it. So like we're running Aegis, all those crappy Paladin cards, the card that reduces the cost of cards that didn't start in your class by 2, and you're running it in Quest Mage so that you can OTK with Aegis instead of Flamewaker. I don't think so. All right, then we have, okay, that's a Rogue Tourist, and it's also our last card, so we can move on. All right, so I feel like everything I've just seen so far has been almost exclusively Paladin support, except like if you're running the Lotheb anyway, you can run that. Maybe this. That's it. Like maybe some of this stuff will manifest in Mage and Standard, but certainly not in Wild. Alright, so then we have Sunsapper Linessa. So 5 mana, 2/6, Rogue Tourist. Your spells that cost 2 or less cast twice? Does that trigger Aegis twice? What do we think this would do 2 Aegis triggers? No? Alright, well, I'm out. You know what? There was so much hype around the art around this card that I never really stopped to consider the text. I think this could be good in Standard. I'm not, like, if it doesn't trigger Aegis twice, I'm not really excited about it for Wild. Like, it costs 5 anyway, it's too much. What is Aegis? It's the 3/4 that when you target it, it deals 3 damage to a random enemy. Alright, so let's go look at Rogue. So destroy 2 random enemies, cost 1 less for each card you've played from another class. So if you're Paladin touristing and you play all these Rogue cards, it could be cheap. Each card you've played from another class? I don't even think this is good in Wild Rogue because you have to play it. But like, it'll depend on how good the cards are that can go into Rogue. So we'll see. Conniving Conman, 4 mana, 4/4 pirate. Replay the last card you've played from another class. So if they're again, like I think I need to evaluate that once I've seen whatever the tourist things are that come in here. Because like with the help of the tourist mechanic, you can have reliable cards from another class, right? More like Conniving Coinman. Oh, because no. Sea Shill, 3 mana, 3/2 pirate. The next card you play from a non-rogue class costs you less. Same deal. It's a pirate, so if you wanted to run pirate pack rogue, maybe, but no. Treasure Hunter Eudora, 6 mana, 4/5 pirate. Go on a side quest to discover amazing loot. Play 3 cards from other classes to complete it. Where's the freaking side quest? Okay. It's the side quest is just play 3 cards from other classes, and then you get how many of these? You get 3. Is it 3 treasures? Is it 1 treasure? Do you discover them? Where is it? Oh my goodness! Why does it have to show me all of these? Oh my goodness. Oh, it's the one that says Eudora's Treasure Hunt. So you get 2. You discover 2. So you could get Quell Thalar, whatever it's called. I think the payoff is worse than Marin, and Marin is non-conditional. Fair enough. This is a pirate, though, so it can go in Pirate Reno Rogue. That's the end of my thoughts on that. It's a really fun card. I don't know that it's any good. Also, the way that the background is, it always looks like a little slash is in the amazing. You know how people do that in like Discord and stuff when they're, they slash something out to make a funny joke. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. Swarthy Sword Shiner, 3 mana, 3/3 pirate. Set the attack and durability of your weapon to 3. I think quick pick into this is very interesting. I think hero power into this is interesting. Is it any good? All right, we're gonna Light's Justice and then do this. What do I think of Signature Eudora? I was a little weirded out by it, I guess. Oh no, it's not even good, right? It's not even good to Light's Justice and do this. I take it back. So, what else? Is there anything more exciting than Quick Pick? It's like Quick Pick and then your hero power, I think, in Rogue. And then, like, what else would you want to do this? If you're doing it on a raw Kingsbane, it's good. Otherwise, it's bad. You're going to do it to the shovel? Sure. Yeah, Kingsbane. Do it on the excavate weapon to stop yourself from excavating, I guess. If you're playing the excavate weapon and this on 4, it's pretty good. I don't know. It seems standard strong. I don't know that it's got any potential in wild. You can play it in after Cariel to have slightly more attack on your invulnerable weapon. When you could have just played a 2 for 2/2 instead. The paintbrush? Oh, okay, yeah, you could swing a couple times with the paintbrush and get 2 more swings out of it. I don't know that that's any good. I don't know that you'd run this for that. But I honestly don't know. That would be a standard. Metal Detector, 3 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, you can get a coin. I think a couple years ago, this would have been hot in like a Miracle Rogue. But it's not 2 years ago, is it? I don't think this is great. It's really only for Well Rogue. Oh, yeah, you could play it in Well Rogue. That's cool. Knick Knack Shack. Draw a card. If you play it this turn, reopen this. Is that a Miracle Rogue card? Give me some combo rogue to have 7 spear triggers. Ugh. You think it's a bad Miracle Rogue card? I think it's overhyped. Oh, are people hyped on this? I'm like cautiously intrigued. Caverns Rogue? I don't know. I think it's interesting. I could definitely see this not being great. But yeah, it could be good. Oh, manager! Deal 2 damage, combo, get a coin. Card of all time. Yeah, I can see how this would be good with the Lanessa. Warlock Tourist. Get 2 random 1-cost spells from other classes. Alright, well, this is just awful, isn't it? So I think Paladin didn't gain a lot from the rogue stuff. And not a lot of the rogue stuff was that interesting, actually. So 6 mana, 6/5, Warlock Tourist. Discover a hero card from the past. So you can have Guff in Standard now. This is really cool. This makes me want to play Rogue in Standard. But like, I don't want to play Excavate Rogue. Excavate Rogue is like, that's a slog. I hate that. I hate that deck. I hate playing it. It's just it's so sloggy. But if this manifests somewhere else, that'd be cool. So let's go look at Warlock. So this is a drink. Deal 3 damage to a minion with lifesteal. Rogue gets lifesteal. Does Warlock want to play 3 for deal 3 to a minion? Does Rogue want to do that? What was for Rogue? What were the reduced cost things that I had to keep in mind? Each card you played from another class, so the drink helps. Replay the last card you play from another class. The next card you play from a non-rogue class costs 2 less. So those are the things I need to keep in mind. All right. I don't think the drink makes the difference for any of those. I think the drink's kind of bad, actually. Like, is it good at, like, if Arena Lock was the thing, would it want to play this? It is a fell spell. He uses it with Tar Slick. Interesting. 3 mana deal 3 is pretty bad, but it has lifesteal, and you get more. Like, you get, more of that effect to do. Replace... Okay. 2 mana... 2 mana Shadow Spell. Announce Darkness. Get it? Because of Renounce Darkness. Replace your hero power and non-Warlock cards with Warlock ones. They cost 1 less. So it is a way to get life tap. It is a way to get life tap in Rogue, because this always gives you life tap. It doesn't give you a random of the Warlock hero powers that have ever existed. It gives you life tap. So it does give you a 1-cost life tap. Pretty good. But it ruins all of your neutral and rogue cards. So, like, why would you play this? And then if you're doing it in Warlock, why would you? Like, it's another meme card. Like, I guess, like, it would have to be a pretty big negative to reduce the cost of your life tap by 1. But even then, is that even that strong? Couldn't this just be your life tap costs 1? And you still wouldn't play it? You could ETC it against Boom Boss. Perfect. Hear me out. Run both Announce and Renounce Darkness. Then you can announce while you renounce. Does this go in a Spectral Cutlass deck? So you play your Spectral Cutlass, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and your opponent plays Rust-Rot Viper, and you uninstall. You can play it in Even Warlock. You could play that in Even Warlock, so that you can have a 1-cost life tap. It's perfect. All right, this card's awful. Okay, that's a tourist. Are we already all the way through? We're already back to Death Knight? Crazy. I feel like this is the fastest review I've ever done. Eat the Imp. 2 mana fire spell. Destroy a friendly minion to draw 3 cards. Isn't that great? That's really strong, isn't it? This is basically why Rogue would want a tourist at all. I believe it. This card is OP. I think it's, yeah, that's really P. Wow. Okay. Then we have Sacrificial Imp. I mean, like, you could play this in Questline Warlock just fine. Like, you want to destroy stuff in there, too, a lot of the time. Yeah, that's really strong. Sacrificial Imp. 3 mana, 1/6 demon. If it's your turn, summon a 6/6 imp with taunt. Death Rattle. Is this supposed to be synergy with this? I guess so. No need for flavor text. It's seasoned perfectly. Is this what you wanted? I don't get it. I got the first one. Well, I don't get this one. Okay, so do you want a 3 mana 6/6 with taunt? I guess is the point of this card. Faster card reviews is hope for wild dies. Yeah. All right, so Cursed Souvenir, 2 mana for give a minion +3/+3, and at the start of your turn, deal 3 damage to your hero. You're not gonna run this in. You're not gonna run this for the self damage in Warlock, right? You would run it if you want the +3/+3, and we don't. So meh. If you're touristing in Pirate Rogue, would you play this? I don't think so. Fearless Flame Juggler, 2 mana 1/1 demon, gain stats equal to the damage your hero has taken this turn. So in Giant's Demon Seed, you can play Crystallizer and this on 3, and then you have a 6/6. Alternatively, you can play it alongside Kobold Librarian on 3 and have a 3/3. Oh, but you can also raise dead and stuff while you're doing all that. On 4, you could Spirit Bomb and Crystallizer, and then you have a 10/10. Is this good? For Giant's questline? Seems okay. Yeah. Fellfire Bonfire. You're not playing this in Rogue, right? You would have to attack into some giant thing. You attack into your opponent's Fanatum. You get to play this. Does muddying up the raise dead pool take away from it? Well, ideally you would raise dead before you do this, and if you're doing it in the reverse order, it's later on in the game, so you have more mana to deal more damage to yourself. So I don't think so. I think this is like getting back a giant if you do it later. Questline plays a 0 mana 4/4 and 8/8. Why pay 2 mana for a pile of stats? That would be the point against it, but it's a lot of stats, so I don't know. Deal 4 damage to a minion. If it dies, your next Death Rattle minion costs 3 less. Okay, so you Fellfire Bonfire to make this cost 0 so that you can pay 2 to destroy it and get a 6/6. It's all coming together. This is awful, isn't it? So you do this, and then you do it again, and then you have a 4-cost Mechathune. What else? I think this is bad, isn't it? It's gonna be like some Death Rattle combo is gonna break this if it's any good. All right, I don't think I've even seen this yet. 6 mana 4/4 super clown looking thing. If you've taken 8 damage on your turns, super easy. So this is like, ignore the first text. If you're running this in Questline Warlock, summon Ouroboros. Give a minion in your hand, Death Rattle, summon Ouroboros. That's fun. It's not going to be good in Standard, right? Or it's not going to be good in Wild, right? But like, that's a really cool effect for Standard. I'm excited to uninstall every time my opponent plays Reno Lone Ranger against me. Then we have Party Fiend. So 1 mana demon, 1/1, summon 2 1/1 Fell Beast, and then you deal 3 damage to your hero. So I think this is funny with Plague of Flames. So like, you play this and you play Plague of Flames and you get to destroy 3 things, and that's kind of funny. It's awful with Raise Dead. So if you're running a deck that wants to Raise Dead, Kobold Librarian, and Crystallizer, this is not good. That's my opinion on this. But if you're running like Arena Lock and you want to play Plague of Flames, it's interesting. But even then, meh. It's a phenomenal. This is the best Darkest Hour support ever. It's crazy. Also, oh yeah, it is -2 on Ticking Zilly. But cute Warlock, right? Cute Warlock, this would be really good. Is there a cute Rogue potential? So yeah, I think cute Warlock is the place where this is most likely to see play. It is also 1 mana for 3/1/1s, so like any aggro deck would consider this in standard. You play this in Rogue so your Velorock curves without needing to generate a Burgle. Gotcha. Precious little to be played in Rogue, huh? So far at least. Oh, no, that's all of it. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't love most of the cards we can play in Rogue. It's like just this and then the 1-cost thing, right? Huh. Alright, Death Knight Taurus. So 4 mana, 4/4 undead. Your Death Rattles trigger twice. After you play a Death Rattle minion, destroy it. So you have to be playing a Death Rattle deck that does not care about the initial body at all. So we could play can we finally play Egg Death Knight? Except that like part of the payoff for Egg Death Knight is getting to do the Construct Quarter, right? So we have to sack other stuff. But that's fine, right? So you play this, you play a bunch of eggs, and you run Construct Quarters. And you either use the eggs to activate your Construct Quarter or you use this. And then you lose from hand on turn 5 to whatever you're up against. Huh. It seems like a potentially really strong card for standard, at least. Now you can play this into Taurus Death Knight. So this is getting Death Knight cards into Warlock. All right, so we've already looked at the Death Knight cards for Death Knight, but now let's go back and look at them for Warlock. Is there a Death Rattle minion that deals damage to yourself that Warlock has wanted to play if it could be Battlecry? Unironic Mind Decay with Death Growl? But it destroys it. You don't have a chance to Death Growl it because it destroys it automatically. The 2 mana draw elemental? Well, we play that anyway. That's just good on its own. So anyways, deal 3 damage randomly split among all enemies after a minion dies. Reopen this. Maybe. No. Freeze a character, draw a card for each frozen character. If you Taurus, does it care about runes? It does. You have to choose rune combinations. Runes are so dumb. Freeze a character, draw a card for each frozen. Oh, you have the Soul Freeze card. All right. Maybe. If you're running the Warlock card to double the effect of Death Rattles in Warlock. Anyway, I could see you wanting to run the Soul Freeze card in this. Cost 1 if a character's frozen. So this would trigger twice. Whenever you play a Death Rattle minion, give it Reborn. Okay, so you play the 4-cost thing that doubles it. You get this out, and then you play your egg. And so you'll get the egg triggers, and you'll still get the thing. Get to have your cake and eat it too. Oh, Reska? That's juicy. Well, do you ever play that just for Reska then? Except that Reska will just die. Like you won't get to trade it in. So you're still removing 2 things. Possessed Lackey? You don't want that in Warlock. Only you want that in Warlock. You run this in Warlock. But I don't think you would. Corpsicle. Corpsicle in Warlock. Still don't think so, but it's interesting. Alright, well, in Wild at least, I'm not seeing... Like, if you're running the Tourist card, I think you're doing it just for the Tourist card. I don't think you run any of that, except maybe Corpsicle. Maybe Slippery Slope, and maybe this. Alright, so now we get to look at the neutrals. We've gone through all the class cards in record time, maybe. Insidious. So this is the guy... this is the guy from... The Phantom Menace. Darth Insidious. Hi, Blue Chain. Oh, we still have to go through the neutrals before we pick our favorites. It's DK to Warlock, not the other way around. Yep. So at the end of your turn, upgrade your eruptions. Battlecry, shuffle 5 eruptions into your deck. So an eruption, deal 1 damage to all enemies. So this is gonna deal more damage immediately. At the end of your turn, upgrade your eruption. So this is 2 to all enemies. It's a 6 mana 2/10 elemental. I mean, it would have to be a pretty slow game to get a lot of value out of this. That's interesting. Definitely a standard card if it's anything, right? It's an elemental. Does that matter? Played on 4 in Wild. Wow. Crazed Alchemist, this minion? Yeah. This does have 10 health. It might stick sometimes. Big priest support? Alright, adaptive 1 mana 1/2 amalgam. Death Rattle, shuffle this into your deck, it keeps any enchantments. So that one Paladin minion is an absolute shambles. Disaster for it. And what else? So first of all, this is a 1 cost anything. So it matters for the Demon Hunter deck in Standard that wants to play Nagas. Because you can play this and always have a Naga left in your deck. And it's a 1 cost Naga, they just like that, right? And in Paladin, you can play a bunch of Hand of Adal and stuff and draw back with Crystology, if that matters. How does this work with Animated Berserker? I don't remember what that is. Embiggen Aggro Druid support. Interesting. Does this cost 0 if it was Shadow Stepped? Phenomenal question. I have no idea. I feel like this is going to be a strong card in Standard somehow, and I think it's going to be Cope in Wild. But maybe it's good. It's all minion types. Then we have Sleepy Resident, Taunt, Death Rattle. All other minions fall asleep. So that's... like, you play it on 4. On 5, your opponent trades into it. And once they've finished trading, all of their other minions that could have attacked have Summoning Sickness again. So it's like... I don't know. Is that good? Not in Wild, obviously, but like maybe in Standard? Maybe in Wild. Because you like... if your opponent makes a giant board of giants and you play this and then they trade into it to kill it, then they can't attack you. I think for greedy value piles, we'll see this show up sometimes. Wave Pool Thrasher. So 4 mana, 4/5 elemental. Give all other minions -1/-1. Death Rattle. Give all other minions +1/+1. Show. Isn't this awful? Oaken Summons is in Standard. Shouldn't this be a priest card? That's funny. I don't know about Wave Pool Thrasher. Is this good and I just don't have the vision? I could see it being good, I guess. I don't know. Terrible Chef. 3 mana, 2/1 undead. Summon a 0/2 Nerubian Egg. Death Rattle, destroy it. This is Death Rattle support for Standard. It seems expensive. So it's like... 3 mana, 2/1, Death Rattle, get a 4/4, kind of. And like, you can't... If you've made use of the body on the Nerubian Egg, your opponent can just destroy the Terrible Chef to destroy the Nerubian Egg. So, I don't know. It's awkward. Resort Valet, 4 mana, 3/5 pirate. Discover a card from the newest expansion. So, what this discovers changes as the years go by. Okay. Cryopractor. Give a minion +3/+3 and freeze it. 3 mana, 3/3 for give a minion +3/+3 and freeze it. Yeah, I don't think that's great. Beached Whale. So this is if you cheat this out, it's huge. It's 7 mana, 4/20. Haha. And then Battlecry, deal 10 damage to it. So it's 7 mana for a 4/10, really. But you can heal it, or you can cheat it out. Or you can use that warrior card with Monothirst 7 for it to have 40 health. Cryostasis wasn't good. Well, Cryostasis did actually have a time when it was played in a tier 1 deck. In Scalaman's Even Shaman, it was played. But, like, you know, that was a very specific circumstance, and it didn't last long, so, yeah. It was it was an Even Shaman staple for a brief period. Because you would like play a totem on 1 with your hero power, and then on turn 2 you could give it +3/+3. So then it's a 3/5, and it was gonna skip its attack anyway because it doesn't have any attack. So yeah, like it unfroze right away. I don't believe in big health, low damage minions as a payoff. I don't know. I think if you can actually Monothirst 7 get this out, that's 430 health. That's a big taunt minion. But yeah, I mean, like that's a wild combo. Wild, it's not going to be good enough. This one I'm not sure about. So 3 mana, 2/4 pirate. Whenever another friendly pirate attacks, give it +1/+1. So unlike Rokara, which would buff after it attacks, this would deal the damage immediately. So is this worth running another 3-cost pirate in pirate decks? I think the answer is no, because it's like a slightly better captain, but I think it is better than captain. Not sure. After an adjacent minion attacks, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. A random enemy. Seems terrible. Its aura always better? This is permanent, though. And has higher health. This is stupid sticky, though. Tide Pool Pupil. 1 mana, 2/1 Naga. If you cast 3 spells while holding this, discover one of them. So this is really good in Quest Mage, right? You get another one of your amazing things back, and it advances your quests. And it would have been so funny. It would have been so funny with old Quest Mage. Savara at home. This is 1 mana Savara. So it's so much better than Savara, I think. I mean, Savara gets you 3, which is like, that's an important difference. So it's not quite the same, but for 1 mana, you get to discover one of your good cards. Isn't this good? I think so. Snoozin' Zookeeper. So 7 mana 5/8. Summon an 8/8 beast for your opponent. It attacks all. So sorry, I had the I realized I had a time sensitive question to ask. So 7 mana 5/8, Snoozin' Zookeeper, summon an 8/8 beast for your opponent. It attacks all of their minions. So they get this thing, and you get a 5/8. Like, if they have a board of like tiny things, it clears them all up. It's just like the rampaging beast has to die, or else it's terrible. It's quadratically scaling with Sonya. So with the Grifta spell, it's 3 cards, 8 mana, 36 damage. Oh wow, quite the Naga. There's an infinite damage loop with this and Mailbox Dancer and Shadow Step. Oh, not infinite damage, just infinite loop. Oh. 2 Shadow Steps and a Mailbox Dancer. So you play the you play the Shadow Step on the Mailbox Dancer, you play the coin. Do you need 2 of these? And make a giant Draka. Okay. Pretty funny. Zookeeper seems like it would be an interesting standard board clear for some decks, but I could also see it just being pack filler. Sailboat Captain, everyone's favorite card. So 3 mana 2/4 pirate, give a friendly pirate Wind Fury. You play Pirate Rogue, and then you Cold Blood something, and then you give it Wind Fury, and then you win. That's my opinion on this card. Any other pirate decks that would play this? I don't think so, right? I think Cold Blood is an important part of why this would be good. Although outside of Cold Blood, is this any good? So you'll play Swordfish, and then like Deckhand would have 4 attack. I wonder if this really isn't as good as I thought it was, but I feel like it's really good burst damage with Cold Blood, isn't it? It's not that bad to have a 2 attack thing attack twice. You can always Cold Blood it the next turn if it lives. Huh. What do you guys think, chat? Is this overhyped? Is this bad? Oh, Treasure Distributor. All right. Lamplighter, 3 mana, 3/2 elemental, deal 1 damage. Improved by each turn in a row you've played an elemental. So this is like, what you call them at home? 7 mana guy. Scrag? Scar? Alright. So if you've played it 5 turns in a row, if you're if you're playing Scar Shaman, your deck is built to play an elemental every turn. So we can basically assume you're gonna do that. So turn 5, deal 5 for 3 is pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think this is gonna make that deck happen, but I think if you're building for Scar, you also play this, don't you? Overplanner. So 3 mana, 3/3. Discover 3 cards in your deck to put on the top in that order. I feel like a lot of the art in this set has had like Warcraft Rumble styling, right? This looks like a Warcraft Rumble style of card. But yeah, I don't think this is anything. Has charge if it didn't start in your deck. So a 6 mana 6/6 charge would be pretty decent if you could just run it. Maybe. But like we used to have 6 mana 6/5 charge, give all of your other pirates charge too. And like, I don't know. I feel like Mr. Smite not giving your other pirates charge is a lot less interesting. I know that Standard played it just to be a charge pile. So maybe in Standard we ETC this, but like they don't have Cariol to like use the button turn after turn, and they can just run Leroy now anyway. Right. So that's what I was leading to, is like everyone's first impulse with this is you can run it in the ETC, and I think that's not great. Like paying 10 mana for a 6/6 charge doesn't excite me. I think the reason that you would run it in ETC is if you don't have a strong third card and you just want to have the occasional damage out. Like, I don't think you would run it otherwise. But even if you are going to do that, I think Leroy is better, right? It's 1 mana less for just as much finishing damage. Copies of this have charge, though. All right, so when is that relevant? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, honestly. I don't think it's great, even in the ETC. I think you would just run Leroy instead if you were going to do that. First card you literally never want. Oh no. Unironically, Big Priest. That's not better than Devilsaur, though, right? I guess you could run 2 Devilsaur and 2 of this. It's good off of Nelly, sure. Yeah, I think it's great to discover sometimes. I don't think you would ever purposely run it in anything, though. All right, then we have Concierge. Your cards from another class cost 1 less. So I think there are some things in here that made me kind of excited to play this with Tourist, but not really. Rogue, I think, would have had to want to play those Paladin cards. Was it Rogue could have Paladin cards? No, Rogue can have Warlock cards. What can play the Paladin cards? Oh, Mage would have had to want to play the Paladin cards, but I don't think it does. Bloodsail Recruiter, 2 mana 4/1 pirate, discover a pirate. So you discover the 6/6 and you're really happy. Bayfin Bodybuilder, 5 mana 4/7 Murloc. After a minion is summoned for your opponent during your turn, silence and destroy it. Wombo combo with the 1 mana 3/3. How does Reno work with that? How does Reno work with what? Paladin 9 mana spell. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. That's I forget what it's called, but like you summon minions from your deck until front lines until your board is full, right? And your opponent gets just as many. Is that how it works? So yeah, your Bayfin Bodybuilder would just destroy everything your opponent summons. That's pretty funny. Oh, if you're Reno, you are still the class that you just were. Tom. You could play Maestra, discover any other hero. And then this is Sork for all cards in Rogue. Tess gives Reno again? Does it? It's Omega weird. That's gotta be a bug. No way. Anyways, this is funny with front lines. I like it. Scrapbooking Student. 5 mana 5/5. Summon a copy of a friendly location. What location do you want 2 of? Yogg location. After you use a location, gain 3 armor. I see. Somebody was the warrior one, right? Like you could use it to do something like accelerate giants out. That's what Spurgs was saying. After you use a location, gain 3 armor. Huh. Man, that's like with the I was gonna say with the rogue one, but no, even then no. I don't know about this one. Druid location is the one everyone saw when they saw this one. How does that one work? 1 second. This marshy stream is like my breath after a run because I'm catching it. There you go. And like there have been times when Control Priest has run a ton of locations, right? So like in those decks, I think could be okay, but even then, Refreshes when you gain armor, so you use the location, then gain armor, and then get it again. What does it give you for gaining? Like it refreshes when you gain armor, but what do you get when you use it? I forget. Discover a taunt. Yeah, that's what I think Spurgs was saying about the cheating out a bunch of taunts. But like when I read that location, it was like 3 for you get 3 durability and you discover a taunt. Is that what it is? Like I don't want to pay 3 mana for discover taunt 3 times. Like as a spell, I wouldn't play that. So like I'm not excited for that location. Maybe in standard it's better, but in wild I'm never doing that. Seaside Giant, 10 mana, 8/8, costs 2 less for each time you've used a location this game. Miracle Rogue. Imagine if they unnerfed Sinstone Graveyard and we could run Sinstone Graveyard and the new location in this. Imagine it. I don't care if it's good or not. Just imagine it. So 4 mana, 4/5. Discover an amazing amulet to give both players. Oh, this is the one where like you get a good one and your opponent gets a slightly worse one. Take control of an enemy minion until the end of your turn. It has 1 attack this turn. Take control of an enemy minion until the end of your turn. So this is the one you get. You just get to take control of an enemy minion until the end of the turn. Your opponent also gets one, but it doesn't get like damage. Get 3 random legendary cards, then transform them into commons. Versus you get 3 legendary cards. See, it's like I can't tell. Reduce the cost of all cards in your hand by 1, except for spells. This one just hits all of them. Oh, this card stinks, right? So 8 mana, 6/7. After you draw a card, 50% chance to draw another. If this was just after you draw a card, wait, oh, this can just go forever, right? Like you could high roll and then, or low roll, depending on how much deck you have left. So does Marin, and we play that anyway? You mean old Marin? Like new Marin is really good. New Marin is phenomenal. Wait, we played that because it's broken. Old Marin, nobody plays. Right, that's funny because it could deck you out. Octo Masseuse. Okay, so here's what you have to do with Octo Masseuse. Are you ready? You play Power Overwhelming and Broom. So now this is a 5 attack with Rush, and you've spent 6 mana. Then you play Soulbound Ash Tongue and you treachery it to your opponent. Now you've used all 10 of your mana. Then you rush this into the Soulbound Ash Tongue for 40 damage. Who's in? 10 mana OTK in Warlock. Who wants it? A jillion cards. I don't know what else you would do with this. It's not working? What do you mean it's not working? This doesn't work with always a bigger Jermonger, but it does work the way that I just described. It does work. Because, like, always a bigger Jermonger does damage to a minion and to the enemy differently. That's why that does not work. But Soulbound Ash Tongue takes the damage first and then also does it to the hero. So, like, that's why the Warlock combo does work. Always a bigger Jermonger does not work. What's up, Clark? How you doing, Clark? You guys got here just in time to see the very end of the Marshy card review. You just finished your review stream? Awesome. I'm almost done with mine. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Mixologist. So 3 mana, 2/3, craft a custom 1-cost potion. So what's sad about this is it's the best Kazakis potion option. It's the best Kazakis potion on a minion that's 1 cheaper. So, like, all the good of Kazakis for modern Hearthstone on not Kazakis. So, like, my poor signature Kazakis continues to be terrible. But on the bright side, the signature art I remember looking pretty good, and 1-cost potions are decent. So at least in standard, I expect this to manifest somewhere. I don't know where it's going to manifest exactly, but I expect it to be somewhere. No Highlander requirement either, yeah. So yeah, my poor Kazakis. Why won't they buff him? We can run newer Kazakis too. Yeah. That's what I was also thinking. Is you can run this and your new Kazakis. Why do I care about a 1 mana potion though? I don't know. Some of these 1 mana potions are pretty good. Like deal 3, deal 2. That's pretty good. But I'll admit, like, it's not like it used to be. Like, it's not like these potions are as good as they were before. I don't expect this to be like a standard all-star, but yeah, I could see it popping up in some things. Carry on grub. So it's like carrion grub, but it's a carry on grub. 4 mana, 5/4 beast. Get a 1-cost suitcase. Pack the top 2 cards of your deck into it. So it's 5 mana, 5/4. Draw 2 cards. I don't think so. Bumbling Bellhop. 3 mana, 3/3. Undead pirate. Taunt. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, summon a copy of this. We can Chain Gang for 1 cheaper in our Shudderwalk. Base flavor text. Put some respect on his name. Esteban Solio Scream Cardo Groentoya de la Grosa Ramirez. What? What is that talking about? What big spells does Shudder have? None. This is terrible. Anything that you used to run is gone now, right? I mean, like, I like Jive Insect, but wasn't there was a card that, like, okay, so if you're gonna run Hagatha and the 7-cost star spell, there you go. Then you have a Serenite Chain Gang for that. Would this ever be good? No, we decided we were line cooking instead of chain ganging in the warrior one. So yeah. Well, okay, so is there anything that wants to just play a 3 mana 2/3/3s with taunt? Like, not for Shudderwalk purposes. That has a 5 or higher cost spell. I don't think so. Am I going to make a YouTube video out of this? Yes, I'm going to update it immediately after the stream. I will upload it to the YouTube without editing it at all. Customs Enforcer. 3 mana, 2/5 pirate. Enemy cards that didn't start in their deck cost 2 more. Oh my goodness. Are you guys looking forward to the Quest Mage tech? Look at this thing. Oh my goodness. What else? What else is that tech against? Maybe Rogue? ETC is cooked? Yeah. I don't think this is good, but you're going to see a ton of it. You're going to see a ton of this card. People are going to cope out of their minds. Gorgon Zormu, 3 mana, 3/3 dragon. Get a 2-cost cheese that summons 3 1-cost minions. It upgrades each turn. Gotcha. So you play this, and if you're patient, you get to summon some good things for 2. What if it kept the 1-cost minions, but it upgraded the cost of it? That would be perfect. The perfect card. Oh yeah, you got to reveal this, right, Clark? Nice. But yeah, this is pretty funny. I don't know what I would play this in. I want to play it in something. I like Gorgon Zormu. Solar Eclipse it. I'm in. The quantity? Is it the quantity? Surely not. It's 7 1 costs, not 3 more 7 costs? Really? Oh, it is the cost? Okay, cool. Stress me out. Discover a location from any class. Nothing wants this, right? Weapons Attendant, 6 mana. If you control another pirate, equip a random weapon from your deck. So we have a 7 mana 6/6 that doesn't require you to have a pirate. And that sees very fringe play briefly in Secret Mage to get Alaneth. And then never again. So Drink Server, 2 mana 2/2 Murloc pirate. Get a random drink spell. It has 3 uses. Oh. Why does it need to say it has 3 uses? Don't they all have 3 uses? You get the spell and then the drink spell and it'll say 3 uses on it. Is there a drink spell that doesn't have 3 uses? Is this just extra context for the sake of it? The Death Rattle has 3 uses. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. AFK. So 5 mana, 0/5. At the end of your turn, give all other friendly minions that didn't attack +2/+2. So while it's out, anything you played this turn gets +2/+2. This is awfully expensive for 0/5 card because of 0/5. Yeah, this is awfully expensive for how little its health is. And this is really bad. In one of the preview vids, it used to be +3/+3. Yeah, this is awful. All right. Marin, we know is good, and that's the end. I'm gonna give this expansion 11 tourists out of 11. And what am I excited about? I'm excited for even Rainbow Decay with Corpsicle and the Harbinger of Frost. Not excited about Questline Demon Hunter necessarily, but I think that gets an upgrade. I'm excited for New Heights. It's probably my favorite card of the set. I'm excited for Sasquatch. That's pretty funny. I'm excited to play this in Beast Hunter and see how good that is. I don't know that I'm excited about anything for Mage, but I think King Tide's okay. If Wild was just slightly slower, I'd be excited for Aegis Paladin, but I mean, it's not going to work out. I would put all this stuff in Aegis Paladin and then just lose to something slightly more efficient. Vol'jin was bringing Hunter cards to Priest, so that came with Sasquatch. And that's basically it, right? Oh, this was good. Or no. It's just this one. So like you get that in Priest. But yeah, I like this for Reno Shadow Priest. I mean, like aggro Shadow Priest gets a huge buff with this stuff, but I don't know that I'm excited about that. I'm excited to Maestra stuff, like get a different hero and then play the neutral thing that makes cards that aren't from your class. Is it cards that didn't start in your deck or cards from another class? Your cards from another class. Okay, yeah, sick. I'm excited to become a different thing and then have like a 3-cost Sork for all my cards. It's like the funniest thing I can think to do out of all this stuff. It otherwise just seems like maybe bad Miracle Rogue support. Shaman's one big dud to me. Like, I don't really like Evolve stuff, and I don't know, like the Demon Hunter stuff that you get from the Taurus doesn't have any synergy with what we already have in Shaman. So yeah. This card looks really fun in Standard. Vona. Eat the Imp seems really strong to me. That seems really busted. And Fearless Flame Juggler, I think, is probably good. This card's good, but I'm not excited about it. This card, I don't know what to think. Oh, you know what? I think I was talking about this like I could use it in Death Knight earlier. But maybe I wasn't. I don't remember. Huh. Anyways, you can't use it in Death Knight. You can only use Death Knight stuff with this in Warlock. Yeah, I think I was talking about Construct Quarter as another payoff. All right, yeah. Okay, so I did mess up. Shaman with Demon Hunter cards are insane, bro. You have an attack buffs and Wind Fury in Shaman. That's like the one thing. The one thing is like you can play. You get to play this card with the giving your hero Wind Fury, but like this is a Wild perspective review, and I don't think that's anything in Wild. Even if it is something in Standard, which I think might be a stretch. I don't think it's anything in Wild. Unless, like, is there just so much now that you can do it? Like, how many plus attacks are there already in Shaman? You also said Reska would die? I think I was copying chat with that. But yes. What was I looking at? I was on Shaman. All right, everyone can make fun of me when I was talking about the Warlock Tourist. That's my opinion. Yeah, so I'm not really excited about Shaman at all. Patches and Demon Hunter Sigil into Charge Bloodlust might be good in Standard. Oh, that's kind of cute. You get to play the Sigil and then Bloodlust the following turn. All right. I also like the transform stuff. I could all see being something in Standard. It's just not something I'm excited about, and not something that would be relevant in Wild. Okay. So So that's fine. And then Warrior I'm excited about. I like the idea of doing the Line Cook deck, and I'm excited to have those Druid cards in Warrior. So like our slow Warriors actually get to have ramp now. Ramp outside of Druid, that's so fun. So I'm excited for that. And all these neutral cards are doo-doo. That's my opinion of most of them. All right. And with that, that'll be the end of my review for YouTube. Goodbye forever, YouTube. Goodbye.